Have you ever felt like you're wrestling with something? Maybe it's a decision, a relationship, or even with God Himself. You're pushing, pulling, fighting with all your might, just trying to get what you want, trying to win. Tonight, I want to take you back to a dusty riverbank, to a story about a man named Jacob who did just that. He literally wrestled with God, and it changed his life forever. But this isn't just a story about a physical fight. It's about a desperate night of surrender. Jacob was a man on the run. For years, he had been a schemer, a manipulator. He tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright and his father's blessing. He lived a life defined by his own strength, his own cleverness. He was always trying to control the outcome, to secure his own future. Now, after 20 long years, he was heading home, and he was terrified. He was about to face the brother he had wronged so deeply, and he heard Esau was coming to meet him with 400 men. Jacob was cornered, and for the first time, his clever plans weren't enough. So, he does what he always does. He tries to manage the situation. He divides his family and his flocks, hoping that if Esau attacks, at least some will survive. He sends wave after wave of extravagant gifts ahead of him, trying to buy his brother's forgiveness. He's pulling every lever, trying every trick in his book. After sending everyone and everything he has across the Jabbok River, Jacob finds himself completely alone in the darkness. It's in this moment of total isolation and fear, when he has nothing left to rely on, that his real battle begins. The Bible tells us a man came and wrestled with him until the dawn. Who was this mysterious man? The text is intriguing. Jacob later says he has seen God face to face. This was no ordinary stranger. This was a divine encounter. Imagine the scene. Jacob, the master manipulator, locked in a physical struggle all night long. This wasn't a quick fight. It was a grueling, exhausting battle. Every muscle straining, sweat pouring down, the dust kicking up around them. Jacob is fighting for his life, but he's also fighting for control, just as he had his entire life. He's likely using all his old tricks, trying to gain the upper hand. But his opponent is different. He's stronger, relentless. As the night wears on, Jacob must have realized he couldn't win this by his own power. He's exhausted, spent. He's given it everything he has, and it's still not enough. This wrestling match is a perfect picture of Jacob's entire life, a life spent striving, fighting, and trying to force his own way. He's wrestling against his past, his fears, and ultimately, against God Himself. Then, something crucial happens. As dawn approaches, the man sees that he cannot overpower Jacob, so he touches the socket of Jacob's hip, and it's immediately dislocated. With one touch, Jacob is broken. The fight is over. He can no longer stand on his own strength. His greatest asset, his physical power and self-reliance, is gone in an instant. He is utterly defeated, humbled, and vulnerable. This is the turning point, not just in the fight, but in Jacob's entire life. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. The man says, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." You'd expect Jacob, now injured and defeated, to just let go. But he doesn't. He clings on, his grip now one of desperation, not aggression. And he says those famous, powerful words, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Do you see the shift? He's no longer fighting to win. He's clinging for a blessing. He has moved from wrestling against God to desperately clinging to God. This is the moment of surrender. Jacob finally understands that he can't get what he truly needs through his own strength. He can't scheme his way into a blessing. He can't fight his way to peace. He can only receive it. By refusing to let go, Jacob is admitting his complete dependence. He's saying, "I have nothing left. My strength is gone. My plans have failed. All I have is you. And I need you. I need your blessing more than I need to win this fight." The man then asks him, "What is your name?" This is a powerful question. In that culture, a name represented your character, your very essence. And Jacob answers, "Jacob." He admits who he is. Jacob means supplanter, deceiver, one who grabs the heel. For the first time, he isn't trying to be someone else. He's owning his broken, manipulative past. He's standing in the truth of who he is, a broken man clinging to God in the dark. And in response to this raw honesty and desperate faith, God doesn't condemn him. He renames him. He says, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Wait, overcome? But he lost the fight. He was the one who was injured. How did he overcome? He overcame not by winning, but by surrendering. He won by losing. He found his true strength in the moment of his greatest weakness. The name Israel means God strives, or one who strives with God. He would no longer be known as the deceiver, but as one who engaged with God and was transformed by the encounter. Jacob gets his blessing, but he walks away from that encounter with a limp. For the rest of his life, every step he took would be a reminder of that night, a reminder that his strength came not from himself, but from God. His limp was a mark of his weakness, but it was also a trophy of his transformation. It was a sign that he had met with God and been changed. He was no longer the self-reliant schemer. He was Israel, a man who walked with a limp but was blessed by God. And what happens next? The sun rises, and Jacob, now Israel, goes to meet Esau, the very thing he was terrified of. But he's a different man. He's not leaning on his clever plans anymore. He's leaning on a walking stick, and he's leaning on God. And the reunion he dreaded turns into a moment of grace and reconciliation. Esau runs to him, embraces him, and weeps. The very fear that drove Jacob into his night of wrestling was met with mercy. So what does this ancient story have to do with us today? Everything. How many of us are like Jacob? We spend our lives striving, scheming, and fighting to control our own lives. We wrestle with our circumstances, with our relationships, with our own insecurities, and yes, sometimes we wrestle with God. We think if we just try harder, plan better, or are clever enough, we can force the outcome we want. We're afraid to let go, afraid to admit we're not in control. Maybe you're in a night of wrestling right now. You feel alone, in the dark, and you're fighting with everything you have. Maybe God is allowing you to come to the end of your own strength. Maybe He's waiting for you to stop fighting against Him and start clinging to Him. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about giving in to someone stronger and more loving than you are. It's admitting you can't do it on your own, and you need a blessing that only God can give. Like Jacob, true victory is found in surrender. It's in the moment we let go of our pride, our plans, our self-reliance, and just cling to God. It might mean admitting our brokenness, just like Jacob admitted his name. It might mean walking away with a limp, a reminder of our weakness and our dependence on Him. But that limp is a sign of a life that has been touched and transformed by the living God. The blessing is worth the battle. The surrender is the victory. So if you're wrestling tonight, can I encourage you? Stop fighting to win. Start clinging for a blessing. Let go of your own strength and hold on to Him. Say, I will not let you go unless you bless me. That prayer of desperation is the beginning of transformation. It's where the deceiver becomes a prince with God, where striving ceases and grace begins. Thanks so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your own wrestling matches. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that explores these powerful stories of faith. See you next time.